does it mean to be a finalist again for the Hall of Fame?
It's a tremendous honor. I don't really think about it much, to be honest, until it comes around. I get asked about it a lot, but now that it's here again, I've been getting a lot of texts, a lot of phone calls and stuff from a lot of friends and family. So hopefully this year we can get in.
What will it mean to you if you do get in?
It'll mean a lot. It just shows everything that I put out, all the hard work I put in, just your peers and, the voters respecting your game and the way you carried yourself out on the field. So it'll mean a lot.
Andre, you kind of touched on that. Ever since you showed up here, every practice, every game, your whole career, you gave everything you had. And you know that, no matter what happens with this vote. But it is justification if everyone recognizes you. That's what you're looking for.
I don't really I never really put too much thought into what everybody else thinks. But to achieve this accomplishment, I think it'll just show that people did pay attention to the things that I did do. It's just it's out of my control. I feel like I've did everything that I've needed to do to achieve the accomplishment, and we'll see what happens.
Andre, you're in the Ring of Honor, but to represent this organization in another hall potentially, what does it mean for you to represent the city, to represent the franchise?
It'll mean a lot. I've built a great relationship with the city of Houston. Just a kid from Miami, never really had been out of Miami until I came here. So I made Houston home, and I get so many. I see so many people, and everybody is always talking about when you go to Canton, we're going to be there. So I can only imagine if it was to happen, what Canton would be looking like. So it's something that's talked about a lot, especially with the finalist list coming out. So.
Andre, if you were asked to and had the opportunity to stand before the voters to state your case on why you belong now as opposed to waiting on the, what would you tell it?
I would probably just tell them, if you look at my career and what I did throughout my career, I never played with a Hall of Fame quarterback. I never played with any other Hall of Fame player. And if I did play with a Hall of Fame player, it's probably J.J. Watt, and he played on the defensive side of the ball. So I don't know many guys that have put up the numbers I put up without, playing with another Hall of Fame guy. So.
You talked to Reggie Wayne, a good friend of yours, you're competing against him again.
Yeah, I texted him last night. We always, text and talk. So I texted him congratulations last night. He texted me the same thing back. And I just told him, hopefully one of us get to knock the door down this year. So.
Andre, you just mentioned that you don't really think about your Hall of Fame candidacy until that time of year comes around. But I imagine now that it has, you reflect back on your career. When you do, particularly here in Houston, what are you most proud of that you accomplished here?
I wouldn't say it was one particular thing that I was most proud of. I think for me it was just going about my business every week, laying it all on the line for my teammates. Trying to do everything I could to help the team win. Making sure that I put my best foot forward every time I stepped on the field. So that was just always my approach. It wasn't just one particular thing. My biggest thing was trying to win a Super Bowl here. And that's something I always say that, I wish I could have did before I retired.
You talked to Michael Irvin about the Hall of Fame, considering where you guys grew up.
No, I haven't talked to him about it. I haven't talked to Mike, in a little while. think the last time I saw Mike when I was down in Miami, but we hadn't really talked about the Hall of Fame.
When you were playing, you say you never thought about the Hall of Fame, but during your career, a lot of these modern wide receivers started getting into the Hall of Fame, and where guys had to wait a little bit, over the course of time. When you saw those guys getting in, and throughout your career, your statistics would show that you were the first to do it since Jerry Rice, or you mixed in with those names so often. Did you start to think that you belonged in that group?
Well, I think once you once you drafted, when I came here, I didn't say to myself I want to be a Hall of Fame player. I just always said I wanted to be a great player. Like, I always just was like I want to be one of the best to ever play. I never said, I wanted to make it to the Hall of Fame. But, as your career goes along and, you guys always remind us of our stats and, things we accomplish. And then it's like, man, like, okay, I was the first person to do this. Wow. I did something that Jerry Rice did. So now it just kind of, comes in your mind. You like, well, maybe I can get in there one day. So I don't think that is something you come in and just assume that's just going to happen.
Andre, how special is it for you that you've been an inspiration for a lot of athletes, like John Bernard told us earlier? Even though he's on defense now, you inspired him to want to play receiver until he decided he didn't like getting hit over the middle. So you're an inspiration for another generation. How special is that for you?
I mean, it's crazy, to hear some of the stories and, guys, even just being out, sometimes just hearing people who tell you, you're the reason why I played football, or, you inspired me as a kid. You never know, what you're doing that can inspire somebody. So to me, it's just kind of mind-boggling, but, it's crazy that, playing a sport that you can inspire so many people. And not only inspire people, but inspire a city. So it means a lot.
Andre, you made the cut from 15 to 10 last year. What point were you starting to get your hopes up? You get nervous about making that 2 reductions instead of just 1?
To be honest, last year I never got nervous about it because I just feel like it's out of my control. So I don't think I would get nervous about it. Because it was my first time last year, I didn't really know what to expect. This year I do feel a little more confident because I'm a finalist again. So hopefully, like I said, it'll happen.
Having gone through this process already, has it given you more time to reflect and process your place in history?
To be honest, I don't really think about it. With this happening, being a finalist, it's probably the most I would really think about it. Other than that, just going throughout my normal days, I don't really think about it at all. I don't really talk too much football, to be honest, unless I'm sitting around watching a game or something. And most of the time I'm talking about the teams that are playing, so I don't really too much talk about what I've done throughout my career. So I'm pretty sure over the next few weeks or so, I have time to reflect, and I'll be asked a lot of questions about different things throughout my career.
What does your mom think about it?
She's excited. She's, mom's always hoping, for the best. So she's excited. She's really, really excited. So hopefully we can get in,
Andre, as you reflect on your career, just looking back on it, what really stands out to you?
Like I said, I don't think it's just one thing that stands out. I'll probably say my favorite moment of my career was probably winning our first playoff game here against Cincinnati. That was I felt like the hump just kind of got off my back because I had been here for so long, and finally we had won a playoff game.
Andre, you mentioned multiple times that there's been a lot of firsts in your career, especially here with this organization. First 1,000-yard receiver, first part of the playoff win. first player in the Ring of Honor. How special would it be to be the first Texan inducted in the Hall of Fame?
It'll be great. You know, to be remembered as the first person to do something, that's something that's going to last a lifetime. So even, you know, having my name in the stadium, you know, walking into that stadium and, you know, the only name they see up there is yours, it's just something different about it. So to be the first to do it, it would be special. It would mean a lot.
You say you don't think about it day to day, but what was your level of disappointment that you didn't get it last year?
It wasn't no disappointment. Like I said, it's out of my control. So, you know, I anything that I could do, I've done it already. You know, I can't do anything else. I can't go catch another touchdown. I can't catch any more footballs. So everything I've needed to do, I've done.
Take 2 or 3 more.
You mentioned that there's something different about looking up there and seeing your name there. With an organization where there's a lot of firsts that you were part of and firsts that are still to come, you have friends around the league you were talking about. What is it to be a part of a team and an organization that has a lot of firsts and others that have histories that are different?
Well, I mean, this organization hasn't been around very long. So when I came here, it was only the second year of the organization. So when I got here, everything I wanted to do for the organization was going to be the first time it would happen anyway. So, you know, I knew that, you know, the things that I would accomplish I would always be the first to do it. So at that time, I didn't think about, you know, being the first, you know, what that would mean. But, you know, I think when I went up in the Ring of Honor, that was when I really realized, like, you know, man, you left a legacy here. So,
Andre, what do you think about JJ retiring, knowing that you two are the best players in franchise history and should both be in all?
JJ's had a great career. I was actually a little surprised that he retired, but he's had a great career. He's a hell of a player, great teammate, hard worker, 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. You know, that speaks for itself. But you know, I really enjoyed playing with JJ as a teammate. Just to even get to see some of the things he's done on the field, to watch him play up close and personal. He was a hell of a player, so I'm very appreciative to be his teammate.
Andre, you mentioned before that when you were here, you weren't playing with a lot of Pro Bowlers. You didn't have a lot of time to work with certain quarterbacks. There was always a constant change. For Canton to be able to allow you to elect you to join, would that just be a sigh of relief to know that everything that you worked for, everything that you strived for here, was actually exonerated by the league as a whole?
Like I said, I don't really get caught up into that. You know, you dealt the hand and you just try to make the best of it, and that's just the way I always approached it. Yeah, of course, I would want to play with a Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, or Tom Brady. I mean, I think any receiver would. But you know, that's not where that wasn't the hand I was dealt. So I had to make the best of what I was dealt, and that's what I tried to do.
All good. Thanks, Andre.
Thanks, Andre.